Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this video marks the end of week number 35 in this road to 100k realized return challenge, and once again it has been a complete meltdown of a week in the markets, especially last Friday, so yesterday, as markets continue to fear about the impending impact that would come from the tariffs that are in the works and are due to, or supposedly may come into effect in the coming Wednesday, April the 2nd, when US President Donald Trump is expected to announce new tariffs on its trading partners. And also because there has been a few concerns about inflation creeping back, and because of that, especially yesterday, markets absolutely tanked, even though the Nasdaq closed, the Nasdaq Composite, keep in mind, not the Nasdaq 100, tanked 2.7%. Our shares of QQQ underperformed and they went below 3%, as you can see here, because of these fears. And as you can see also here in the graph, and I'm going to show the chart for you of this week. This week was basically, especially from Wednesday onwards, it has been going downhill all the way. And yes, this is when it happens. Basically, this latest reading of the purchasing, the PCI, if I'm not mistaken, this is where and this is a website, one of the news pieces of the Wall Street Journal. And here, as you can see, the consumer sentiment also worsened. Also, the looming tariffs that US President Donald Trump are expected to enact, and also as well, and also here the website, the CNBC, lower as inflation and tariff fears worsen, and these have been the main catalyst for the market downfall over this weekend. So yeah, this was the index that I was talking about, the personal consumption expenditures, which also came a little bit hotter than it was expected by most of the market. And so yeah, this was not a positive week. Also here, because of this development, we were not able to extract as much profit as we were expected in the market. Here, this is our list of earnings, and we did not even achieve 300 euros, $300. Now, keep in mind, we had to sell these calls on Pfizer, but these are 2-week calls, and so we received around 200 and something dollars, but of course they are already in our pocket, but we have the position still open. And so because of that, the value does not appear yet, but here you can see the situation was, and as you recall, last week, or rather at the beginning of the week, we tried to sell the calls at a reasonable price, given the fact that it's a pretty large position. But here, and looking at the 1 week chart, the price of the shares went downhill all the way, and the calls lost value all through the week. And so the premiums I was expecting to receive never materialized. And because we could not keep our shares without having any sort of return out of them, I decided to at some point to compromise on the premiums a bit, and also compromising on the fact that we would not be able to sell weekly calls with a reasonable return. And so basically what we did is that we sold 2-week calls. Now again, this was also a situation that occurred, as you can see, also with the amount of the funds that we had, we were able to sell 2 puts on Pfizer, 2 put contracts, which are right here. As you can see, we sold these on Wednesday, and so we managed to get some return out of this. And also, I shown the graph here on Pfizer, there was a point during the week, during Thursday, the trading day on Thursday, and also on Friday, in which the price of the share of the stock tanked so much that went below. And here is the line for the $25. Here, as you can see, at some point on Thursday and on Friday, the price went below the 25 strike price. So the puts were basically in the money. But despite the meltdown that occurred yesterday, the price recovered a little bit, and so the puts expired worthless. Now, why this happened when it comes to Pfizer? Basically because apparently it came on the news that Pfizer is being subject to a formal inquiry related to the potential hypothesis that they delayed the trial results of a vaccine, COVID vaccine, until after the U.S. President Donald Trump, in his first term, ended his term, and Joe Biden, the next U.S. President Joe Biden, assumed office. And so apparently there is a suspicion that Pfizer delayed the test trials results of its COVID vaccine until after U.S. President Joe Biden entered office, to basically put the Democratic president in a better light. And so this is a suspicion that was going on, and if this happens, I believe that there may be some consequences if this is found out to be true, and probably some fine or some other sort of penalty may come about, and of course this will penalize Pfizer. But nonetheless, the stock recovered by just enough to avoid the puts that we sold being exercised. And so next week we'll do the same. We will sell more puts on Pfizer, but given the price that currently is $25.12, we'll probably have to go to sell the puts on the 24.5 strike price and see what's going to happen. But again, for the time being, we have no calls to sell because we are still committed to the calls we currently have, and that's, for the time being, that's where we'll be. Now, when it comes to the QQQ and the fact that it has been more volatile than usual, as you can see here, the implied volatility is almost 24%, which is historically high. Even if we discount the fact that here the historical volatility is 23.3, if we look further back, we know that the historical volatility for the QQQ is around 18 to 19, and so the volatility that has been occurring over the last few weeks, and the one which is reflected on the options premium, is pretty much elevated. And here, as you can see, a 3-month graph, and here, yeah, basically this has been pretty much up and down all the way, and so that is why this has been pretty difficult to get some additional premium out of it. But basically, we'll have to hope that on April the 2nd, nothing really untoward comes about, even beyond the fact that tariffs should be put in place, which is, of course, in of itself a bad development. But yeah, basically we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. We will continue to push in our strategy. Also, another thing that I forgot to mention is that now currently we are underperforming our and just for the record, we are now at this currently realized gains 33,157. We still have a few more gains to be realized because this was late in the session. This reflects the performance without while still the Friday session was still open, and so there are still some gains to be realized and to be added up in here. Which will of course come in the activity report of Monday. But for the time being, we managed to increase a little bit our return. And now the bad thing is because the QQQ has been underperforming the Nasdaq, So in the case of the losses in the QQQ have been more significant than in the Nasdaq. Probably not probably, most likely because of the weights that each stock has on the QQQ relative to the Nasdaq, and because the losses have been greater, and also Pfizer has been underperforming. That means that currently, and for the time being, because we are very late in the month of March, we are at the end of the month basically, we are underperforming the three indexes against which we are benchmarking. Even though we outperformed on February, currently we are underperforming because the cushion that would allow us to, or the biggest factor that would allow us to outperform this index would be the Pfizer shares, which is the only other exposure that we have besides the a very close correlation with the Nasdaq, is the fact that Pfizer have also been underperforming, and because that is only aggravated to the worse, of course, aggravated our underperformance against our benchmarks, which is here, as you can see. It has been, of course, a negative performance overall, and so because of that, yeah, we have been underperforming. So we'll have to hope that this turns around for the month of April, but for the time being, March has been a pretty rough month. And yeah, this is it for now. And one more thing, I'm going to be because I've been asking a few questions about the why this is going on, why this is all about the tariffs, what's wrong with tariffs and all that. I'm going to make a video about the tariffs and what they are and what impact do they have, how do they actually work, so that all of my followers, all of viewers, can have a better idea of why this is apparently bad, and why I'm a strong believer that the tariffs are not the way to go to address any sort of problem that the American economy has. But yeah, that will come for a later video. But for the time being, feel free to leave your comments and questions in the comment section below. I'm also available on LinkedIn in case you have any questions to ask me privately, and also, of course, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and we will reconvene next Monday to start the week number 36 in this challenge, and I'll see you there.